Yes, how are we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another stream. And as Nick says, hello, Stonkers. Yes, hello, everybody watching Stonksy. Thank you for tuning in. It's great to see you. It's great to have you. And yeah, obviously another day in the market. We have had a slight Bitcoin bounce after some good absorption came in just below 100k. So we'll analyze that. We'll see obviously what we are maybe being faced with next. And yeah, let's take a look. But do make sure drop a big like on the stream. Let me know what you're doing in the comments. What do you think? What's your kind of overall feeling and thoughts on the market? And of course, we will. Hello, Zenith Zone. How are we doing? Great to see you. Yeah, let's get a poll going anyway. Let's get a poll going, and we will say. Let's see. So let's have this. Let's see. 90k. I know we did one of these yesterday. There you go. This is going to be a good poll. So yeah, do get your vote in on the poll. Zenith retracted your You've retracted your comment. Wow. Hello. Anyway, Zenith, how are we doing? Great to see you. And everyone else that's tuned in so far. Of course, you'll notice that we are back at the usual time of 1 o'clock because yesterday I got caught a bit off guard. I didn't realize that the American clocks had also changed on the weekend. So that shifted it back to the usual time. So we are at 2:30 US Open again, which it was obviously 1:30 for all of last week. So yeah, that caught me a bit off guard yesterday, which was quite funny. But yeah, I mean, overall, we have bounced on Bitcoin a little bit, as you can see. If we zoom in, let me get me mouse to actually zoom in. Hang on. If you actually zoom in, you can see obviously some good absorption came in. Below 100k, down towards 99. As some really nice absorption wicks there, leading to a semi Bitcoin bounce. If you have a look on ETH was actually really good. I mean, I was watching this in real time last night, and as soon as like this absorption coming on ETH, I thought, yeah, this is gonna bounce a little. Has bounced. Now, if you notice on ETH, it's kind of melted through my levels. So what I think will be interesting to see is obviously what happens from here on out. We'll obviously take a look at this on Bitcoin. Of course, channels came in really nicely down here, didn't it? Really nicely on the channels there. Steve-O, how do you think you're doing? It's Himp Day, mate. You're going to shoot your rocket tonight. Or you mean it's Hump Day? Mate, yeah, doing some fireworks, doing some sparklers, all that jazz. Of course, yeah, it's bonfire night, isn't it? It's Guy Fawkes night. The guy who allegedly, tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. What a change in circumstance that would have been if he actually would have got away with doing it, and there would have been no Houses of Parliament, would there? How low do you think we go? I am looking at in and around kind of the 90 zone, give or take, 1-2k. That's personally where I'm looking and where I'm favourable for. This was one area that we've looked at. This is one area that we've been looking at on stream, the past couple of weeks. Now, what you will say is those are two quite nice wicks on the bottom of these daily candles. That is what I will say. Is that they're showing some really nice absorption on both them wicks, putting in basically a perfect tweezer bottom if you're into your candlestick patterns. But what I could see happening from here is maybe some sort of bounce up to here for an underside rejection and then tumble down. That's what I could see happening. But personally, I just don't think, after the amount of time that we spent ranging in here and the failed attempts at creating new highs, this isn't warrants, came up here in July. 1, 2, 3 attempts. Higher and higher, failed, came down, spent basically 2 months in here, minus this week of price action. Most of it was spent in here for 2 months. To me, a 6k drop just doesn't seem like enough in terms of coming down, sourcing some liquidity, wiping people out, to then obviously just go back up. So yeah, I'm looking in this zone. Of course, there is also a CME gap in this zone. So yeah, I'm kind of just going to remain patient and see what happens. Now, there is a scenario, of course, where the market could show a strength. At the moment, we are now in a downtrend, aren't we? At the moment, we're in a downtrend. So what we need now is basically the market to show us strength, because now we're in a downtrend. How do we know we're in a downtrend? We know we're in a downtrend because obviously we put in this high here which was, on the weekly it was a swing failure pattern. On the daily, that is just pitiful in it at the chance of a new high. We then obviously come down, as you can see. Then come down. We then did the same here. So then that obviously made us a lower high. We did form a low here, so we've now formed a lower low. So this would then come in here for a lower high. So you got high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then maybe coming in for just one more low here, which would then set a bottom, which is what I'm looking at. However, of course, the market can show us strength in a few ways without going too complicated, because basically all we need is a recapture of this range. As you can see, since mid-August, price, let me just get that again. Price spent, the large majority of the last 2.5 months since mid-August in this range, minus this. So, that's about a week's worth of price action in it. So the best part of, over 2 months was spent between 117k and, 106, 107k. So basically what you need is, the market to show us strength in the form of recapturing this zone. So, a nice daily close above 108k would then obviously reopen this range, as long as it stays within it and doesn't fall straight back out. And then basically all we are at then is back within this range, trading price action between support and resistance. And then, and then from there we'll take whatever happens. That's why, if we do end up pushing up here, the reaction in and around 106, 107 will be really key. Who's the other? I'm not going to say that way. I'm going to say guy on your thumbnail. The other guy is the Meta Planet CEO. The other guy is the Meta Planet CEO. Bottom is in, or else I'm gay. Well, what can you do, mate? What can you do? May have to be gay for the rest of your life. Who knows? Any good trade setup, says Arya. Yeah, join Stonksy or join Crypto Saving Expert. Yeah. If you want some good trade setups, join Stonksy. Links in the description. You get full access to the indicator, the oscillator, of course, the Discord server. Join Crypto Saving Expert. Don't think there's a link for that in the description, but if you just go and type in Crypto Saving Expert on Google, you can join the premium or community plan to get access to the Discord. There's always loads going on in there as well, in terms of people discussing trade setups and all that jazz. So yeah, go and have a look. How are we in terms of moving averages? I haven't really looked, to be honest. Should we have a look? I haven't really looked. Let's get a clean chart. Hang on. That worked out well, didn't it? Don't know when I was doing this analysis on that, but look at that. That worked out quite well. Look at that. Boom. Anyway, let's see. So the daily 200 moving average we have lost. So yeah, lost the 200 daily moving average in and around 110. Lost the 200 EMA as well. 200 daily exponential moving average. Let me make that a bit bigger for you guys. There you go. Yeah. So 200 moving average, 200 exponential moving average. Lost both of them. So obviously that's a key piece. Let's have a little look at where the 100 is. 100's all the way up there. Again, lost that. Look at that. That was that was resistance throughout October. There we go. Let's take a look at the weekly. So we have is that still all the way down at 55k, really? Yeah. The 100 weekly moving average is down at 82k. The weekly exponential moving average 200, 65k, and then the 200 weekly moving average 55k. So yeah, that's where we're up to on the weeklies, of course, massively away. The 50, I don't know where the 50 is. 50 we're actually pressing right now. Okay, this is interesting. Look at this. Look at this. This may actually be quite the thing that we've just latched ourselves onto. So let me just turn Stonksy off for a minute. This is the 50 weekly moving average. Let me get rid of all these drawers. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. 50 weekly moving average, as you can see, if we go back to 2020, 2021, got above, held above, tested, held as support, tested, held, tested, lost, and then held, and then dropped below. Rejected, sold off, spent ages under, came up, rejected, reclaimed, stayed above, tested August 24, tested September 24, stayed above, tested April 25, stayed above. We are now testing it again this week. This may actually be one of the most important things we could look at, to be fair, for how this weekly close comes in, because as you can see, the trend has been since the cycle started that the 50 weekly moving average we have held, we have stayed above, and it's been used as really nice place to catch bottoms. Question is, will it catch this bottom or not? This may actually be a really telling thing to see where we're going to go to next in terms of looking at everything else too, based on what we can see there with the price action. So this is really key. This, look at that. Both, to be honest, both. Make sure you do drop a like on the stream. Get your likes in, guys. Let's see what we're on. I bet we're on about 10. 7? Come on now. You guys are having a laugh. Right, let's take a second. Pause. Going to do some deep breathing. Right. Come on. Scroll down. Hit the like button. 10. Keep it coming. I'm going to carry on doing some deep breathing. Come on. We're halfway there. Let's get towards 15. And then I can stop doing my deep breathing. And come on, you guys can change this. Scroll down, hit the like button, stop being stingy. Come on now. Oh, we just had people drop off. Look at that, I just lost 4 people. Cranks. Absolute cranks. But yeah, this is obviously a really key piece of data for us to be looking at now. I hadn't really looked at the 50 weekly moving average, but as you can see, it is the trend setter. It is really important to see, obviously, the trend in what we're doing. So, yeah, massive point for Bitcoin here. In terms of the weekly close, of course, we've got 4 days, 11 hours to go. So, a long time, over half the week to go. But where we close this week may, suggest either we are keeping the trend in terms of staying above and holding it on tests, or have we broken the trend? We'll obviously only see this come the closure of Sunday's candle, but yeah, really key. And we'll keep tabs on this every single day now. I'm gonna be watching that very closely. But I mean, yeah, as for Bitcoin, we'll see what we get given today. Of course, we need to keep a close eye on the stock market as well. No way they left because you asked for a like. Well, they did, mate. They did, yeah. They did. Dropped off. We had 20 viewers and then it went down to 16. But you guys are here, so that's all that matters. However, if you are new and you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. Please don't leave the stream for me asking that. Yeah, what we want to keep an eye on is obviously the stock market. So if we go to the daily time frame, you can see, of course, yesterday we had a big old push down. Today, we actually pushed down even more, and it's absorbed quite nicely so far. But the big one obviously came on NQ, which has now filled that gap. As you can see, we had a gap on NQ futures, which has been filled, and some good absorption. So can we go back to the upside now? That's the question. Did we come down just to fill this gap on futures? Gap filled, maybe trap set for short sellers, and then maybe pull it back to the upside. If we go and have a look to see how the Mag 7 are doing, Nvidia down to 198 pre-market. Wow. I'm gutted I didn't pull the trigger on 210, 211 there. Apple up to 270. Meta up slightly. Meta has put in a great daily candle there, to be honest. No, it hasn't. Wrong way. That's the thing that you want to see at the top of an uptrend. I'm not too sure with Meta. I mean, it's left a big gap, and it's been hit the hardest out of the Mag 7. But I mean, I'm personally not touching it. Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, and then Google. Yeah, so things are actually looking semi-okay. In terms of the stock market. We pushed back up today. Gives obviously Bitcoin some room maybe to push back up as well. If we close above, we might see some rocketing or not. I think if we close above, that'll definitely be a good thing. I mean, that is definitely something for us to keep an eye on now throughout the rest of time, is this 50 weekly moving average, because as soon as we potentially drop below there for a weekly close, we then need to obviously look for like a confirmed downtrend, because that has been the moving average that, as you can see, has held on all the touches all the way up. So losing it will, be quite concerning. But we'll keep an eye on it, yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see how this week closes out. But the daily is looking quite nice. I will be honest, the daily is looking quite nice. And let's move on to some others. Of course, we looked at ETH. I think the point of where bounces, maybe we could look at this. The point of where bounces maybe come into play. So if we do Bitcoin first, so where would we, be looking for on Bitcoin? Well, naturally, we're looking at the 4 hour, and there will be nice liquidity above there. You can see that just from looking at the chart. There will be nice liquidity above there. And then, of course, then we're into the SR test here. So, a couple of just scenarios. Come up here, sweep, and then down. Come up here, sweep, then down, and then come up here, reclaim, and push up. They'd be kind of 3 upside scenarios I'd be looking for. Again, yeah, that would be a nice sweep of liquidity. So maybe this just becomes then a short squeeze, perhaps, and then we come back down. We'll have to see what happens. XRP, kind of the same thing. I mean, really, for on altcoins, if you're playing the bounces, superb, because obviously we are getting some real nice. Look at Asta, back above 105. Strong response. Hype pushing up as well, but yeah, I mean, if we're looking at altcoins, really, the setups can be good. The setups can look like they're working well and all that jazz, but it's all dependent on what Bitcoin's going to do in it. It's all dependent on what is Bitcoin going to do next, and kind of, is Bitcoin, going to put in a bottom, or have we got lower to go? But there was, there's been major blood on the streets the past 2 days, hasn't there? It's been a bit of a brutal time for alts. But yeah, if you have just joined, drop a like, subscribe if you're not, and get your comments in. I want to know, obviously, your guys' thoughts. But yeah, I think this is what I'll be looking at on Bitcoin, these kind of 3 scenarios, for sure. I mean, apart from that, yeah, we'll look at others, ETH. Let's scroll down to the 1 hour for some of these, because really what we want to watch for, and you can see on the 1 hour, you see this on the 4 hour, you see this kind of step down. These are obviously areas where suppliers came in to shove it down, further down, which obviously lead to nice build-ups of liquidity. So as you can see here, where would we have liquidity? Above here, we'll have liquidity above here or here, really. But that's obviously where supply came in. So, liquidity area there. Here. And then, of course, we are up to this level, which I can't remember what it was, but I've got it highlighted. So again, like on Bitcoin, these will be areas we'll be looking for liquidity sweeps. But also, something to bear in mind is that price will come into supply in these areas. So as you can see, you've got... Hang on, let me get rid of that. So you've got this area here, which is where supply initially came in. So that's where supply initially came in. We sold off, went sideways, then boom, supply comes in again, drops down. Sideways, boom, supply comes in, drop down. Sideways, boom, supply comes in, major drop down, and obviously liquidation. So these areas will be tough for ETH on the way back up. And again, we're only looking at the 1 hour. If you're looking at this maybe, on the daily or the weekly or whatever kind of time frame you like to look at and trade from and deduce your plan, then of course maybe this doesn't matter to you so much. But in terms of low time frame trading and obviously maybe, looking for a bounce and maybe what happens next, this will obviously be, these will be key areas to look for. But they may not look the same. I mean, if we go to the 4 hour, yeah, they pretty much line up on the 4 hour quite nicely as well. Just obviously look a bit different, don't they? You get a more detailed view on the 1 hour. But yeah, thank you to everyone that's jumped in. Let's see what we're doing on the like ratio. 11 likes. If you haven't liked the stream, please may I ask you just to scroll down, hit the like button. It only takes 2 seconds and it does help the stream out massively. So yeah, please do that. Also, we're looking at the 1 hour here. Look at how perfectly Stonksy called this drop. Look at that, in from 3,800 all the way down, which yesterday was obviously a huge drop, wasn't it? But if we go and have a look, there was the confirmation of the the red background opening. Obviously to the bottom it was 19%, which is crazy, isn't it? Really, likelihood is you're not going to bottom tick an exit on a trade. It's still open now for 12%. This may close soon, obviously, if we start bouncing. But, if you got in, say, you had an alert set, because obviously you can set alerts on Stonksy. If you had an alert set and got in straight away, obviously, you're really nicely in profit. You had plenty of opportunity there to close at minus 15, 16, 14%. But, say you got in a bit later, maybe in and around here after the initial drop, still 10%, 13, 14, 15%. So yeah, really, really good results on Stonksy. It's been absolutely nailing these drop downs in the market that we've had. So if you haven't got it yet, the link is in the description. You can sign up to it. Well worth it. I mean, just look at that. What more could you ask for? What more could you ask for? But yeah, that's where we're looking at on ETH. If we go and have a look at, say, the weekly. The weekly is a bit different. I mean, if you're looking at the weekly, I think really the most important zone would be then, coming into here, wouldn't it? This would be an important zone, when we start to visit these areas where we had resistance for, many, many weeks up here for maybe some sort of SR test or whatever. If we look on the daily, of course, this is where we bounced. Just above, it kind of front ran it a bit. It kind of front run that tag of 3K, didn't it? But this was, this was the area that we've had drawn out for ages on this stream now. So, yeah. But I think, really, the test will be what happens if we come in here. What happens if we reopen this range. But what I would say is, this can be tightened up quite nicely to there. And I think, there's dependent on obviously what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin bottom is in, then we're probably not going to go and do this, are we? But if Bitcoin has, maybe one more leg down, then re-enter in this range here. Obviously, you can see, why is this a range? Very simple. Price traded in a range. And it put in our little nice famous pattern that we like to look for with this fake out / liquidation back in, and then obviously road to higher. But yeah, that's what I would be saying is, real test of this will be if we come in strongly and actually test this properly. But ultimately, depending on what Bitcoin does, maybe we come back into here. If not, then of course, yeah, we've got the road back to the upside, haven't we? With obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. But you could find, ETH pretty quickly above 4K if strength comes back into the market. It seems kind of Mission Impossible-esque now, but it wouldn't take long or much effort at all if we get a solid Bitcoin bounce to find ETH back above 4K pretty quickly. So we'll see. Delicious. Yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Obviously, I hope you've been voting on the poll. Let's see what the poll's doing. So I've had 18 votes on this, so thank you to everyone that voted so far. 39% is winning with the bottom is in. 22% think 90k. 11% think 80k, and then 28% actually think sub 80k, which is interesting. Really interesting. We've got Scottish saying, good afternoon. How's Zet looking? I got in at 420. Of course you did, mate. I'll have a look now. Of course you did. That nice number. Do you like that number, do you, Scottish? Feeling very bullish now. Think we bottomed. We'll see, mate. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, for those of you just joined, take a look at this, which is what we stumbled across. I've never really paid much attention to it, but take a look at the 50 weekly moving average. Not on ETH, on Bitcoin. Hang on, let me get a new chart. Look at this. So obviously going back, and this goes back all towards the previous cycle as well. If you go back and have a look at the previous cycle, the importance of the 50 weekly moving average. You can see the price action all around it for support and resistance. But you can see here, obviously resistance. We got back above, then we've held above ever since. But look at the touches on the way up. So obviously back in 2024, touch held, again touch held. Earlier this year, touch held. So now you can't really see it because I've got drawings on this chart, but let's go to a different one. Look at the chart now. So obviously we've got 4 days, 11 hours. So I think this weekly close will be quite telling to see what happens. Of course, if we lose this, is that maybe one telltale sign that we may have entered a downtrend, or what? We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But I do think it's very, very interesting that that 50 weekly moving average is so important to the price. I mean, look at that. It's just holding, obviously, the whole downtrend up, the whole uptrend up in it. But let's have a look at ZEC. Look at that. That is ridiculous, isn't it? That is utterly, utterly ridiculous. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, great buy, mate. Great buy. You're obviously nicely in profit now, aren't you? What are you? You'd be about 10% in profit, which is obviously glorious. I mean, this thing could just... Every time you think it may have topped... I mean, yesterday, this candle was looking horrendous, wasn't it? Because it come all the way down here. It just looked like it was just full. Everyone, taking profit, jumping ship. And then it still closed positive. So there's still buys coming in it. I believe that there's some 2017 price action. I don't know if any of these charts will go that far back. Let's see. No, so KuCoin kind of does. Let me go and load it on, because there is obviously some price action for us to look at. I've actually got it up here. Here we go. Yeah, there is actually some price action from 2017. Obviously, on all these charts that we're viewing on TradingView now, they, it's at highs, isn't it? It's at historical highs on TradingView. But if you actually come onto CoinMarketCap, you can see You know, this is going back to obviously 2017, 2018. That peak there at $700 looks interesting, doesn't it? Because obviously, I mean, apart from that, you've then got just the launch and then the downtrend. But yeah, I think that would be, you know, an interesting area. And again, don't know how much attention would be paid to it because a lot of people are probably looking at it on TradingView and haven't obviously got that price action unless there is an exchange that you know where we can get that price action from. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously blazed through all these previous highs, hasn't it? It's blazed through all these previous highs. So $700, maybe. I don't know. I mean, just yeah. Without actually being able to analyze the chart, there's nothing much else we can do. But I mean, on CoinMarketCap, it does give it us. And let's see if we flick over to TradingView. Let's see. So what will let's see. There you go. Actually, there you go. So if you do actually want to analyze the chart, come on to CoinMarketCap, because obviously, yeah, we've just blazed through everything else. But I mean, does this come into play? Just fill in all this monthly wick. I mean, look at that back from January 2018. Did we maybe fill that wick? And then I would obviously be very, very cautious. Anything in and around $1,000, especially if you fill that wick completely, I would be very, very cautious in my opinion. Anyway, love 420 on the UK medical prescriptions too. Blue Lobster is incredible. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, okay. Be interesting to see how many times we touched that in previous runs before falling through. Yeah, I did look at that. I did. We'll go back and have a look. I'll show you, Bobby. I'll show you. But yeah, that. I mean, for Zek, that's basically all there is. I mean, if you want to go to the weekly chart and analyze or what, but I think obviously with the strength that it's got, yeah, up here seems. I mean, just look at that volume as well. Look at that. So volume back from there, 2018, volume on that monthly candle was just 77 million. That is so low in it for the whole month. 77 million already. On this month, it is at 23 billion. That is just crazy, isn't it? The comparison last month, 23 billion. Unbelievable. But yeah, so it's on a super run, isn't it? It's on a super run. For you, Bobby, we will go back and show you that price action, mate. Let's get the index up. We are approaching 103k now. We are approaching 103k. There you go. So 2017. Obviously before that, just kind of hanging around. Didn't really touch it much. Obviously, it got above at one point. Did it touch it there? See now. Yeah, I mean, it's looked like it's always been quite pivotal, doesn't it? I mean, this is going back to obviously, you know, 2013, 2014. Look at that. You know, got above, came in as support here, flipped to resistance, got above, rode the trend, support, obviously came close here, support, dropped below, resistance the week after, resistance again on that bounce, resistance, then burst through, then spent obviously some time chopping around, recapturing it, losing it, blah blah blah, dropped below, recaptured it, and then, you know, came in as support there, support, dropped below, recaptured, dropped below, tipped over, back below, Then we came into resistance in 2023, early 2023, pushed through strong, and then obviously rode the trend, retest August 24, retest September 24, retest March, April 25, retest November 25. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But it is testing it, so I mean, it's going to be quite interesting to see which way this goes. If it puts in, the same as it has been with wick into it and below, and then weekly close above, maybe that is a good telltale sign. But yeah, I mean, it looks like historically, it has been a really key pivotal moving average, and I'm going to be paying a hell of a lot of attention to it now. 106,666 daily top today, be great. Yeah, I mean, I'm really keen to maybe short that retest of 106, 107. Do you think if we lose it, that basically confirmation of a bear market? I wouldn't say so. I would say it's definitely concerning, but there has been times where it's lost it and then recaptured it. But I would say, there's many things that we can look for in terms of the trend. What is supporting the trend? What is the trend obviously doing? But I would say it would definitely be one sign. I mean, I wouldn't pin the whole cycle on the 50 weekly moving average. But at the same time, there would be an argument to say you could, because of obviously how it's performed when price obviously interacted with it after the bear market and then got above, and then how it's behaved all the way up. You would say obviously the trend is broken in that aspect. But I mean, if we go back and have a look, you can see this week here, we closed basically right on it, didn't we? And then the week after we dropped below, which then in this point here, obviously closing on it, and then you can imagine, can't you, on this weekly candle when we was down here, it would have looked like we was losing it, and then obviously this went on to close back inside it. So I would say it wouldn't be too much in a rush to confirm anything. What I would say is obviously, say for instance we close this weekly candle below, or just at any point when we start closing weekly candles below this, would be a real cause for concern. Wiz, how we doing, mate? Great to see you. Bobby, thanks for looking at that, mate. Looks like this run has had the most retests. Good indicator. Well, I mean, it's a fantastic thing to stumble across, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to be paying, a hell of a lot of attention to it now. And I think obviously, yeah, this weekly close, could be really good, or it could be the first sign of maybe the trend is shifting. Delta, how we doing? But yeah, that's obviously just one moving average out of all of them, but it is obviously quite interesting to see. But yeah, we are curling up on Bitcoin, on ETH. We're curling up now, and yeah, I'm keen to see what can happen if we when we approach these zones. Let's see what the poll's saying. For everyone that's voted on the poll, thank you very much. So most people think that the bottom is in. 43% think the bottom is in. It's interesting to see 29. So the next one after that is 29% saying sub 80k. So most people think the bottom is in, but after that, people think it just gets really, really bad. So it's either the bottom's in or it's just terrible. I'm in the 90k one, but let's end that and let's get the US Open one on. But yeah, thank you to everyone that voted on that. Bada boom, bada bang. There we go. So the next poll is up for US Open. Go take a look. But yeah, that's obviously what we've covered there. Hyperliquid's having a solid day today, up 6%. That came in. Oh, look at that. Should have been paying attention yesterday, shouldn't I? Should have been paying attention yesterday. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Dip into that grey zone. Oh, look at that. Oh, where is it? Where's the bloody what am I looking for here? Can't even think about what I'm. Where is it? Why am I stuck on this? There it is. I don't know why I couldn't find that thing now. I was thinking, what box is this in? I mean, yeah, look at that. You know, say you got in at $36. Oh, yes. Yeah, I wasn't really paying much attention to this, but you know, as covered on the stream, it is just wedged in this daily zone, and again, you know, yet again, it held it really nicely yesterday. So, props to anyone that got in on hype down there. B&B kind of came in for a test of down here where we were looking. Didn't actually come in and fill the wick, but it kind of came in for a test. Pump's having a good day, up 7%. Again, Pump, you know, came down, and this is obviously really solidified daily demand now, isn't it? For Pump. Asta, you know, again, another one came into our kind of zone that we've been looking at. Longmore last night on hype. Do you think the NYC election will impact Wall Street today? I have no idea, to be honest. I have no idea. I haven't really paid much attention or kept up to date. I believe this Mamdani, is that his name? Mamdani guy is a bit of a complex character. I think he's kind of like Marmite. People either like him or they don't. But I've seen a lot more people say that they don't like him than they do. But he won. You know, he won it, didn't he? So yeah, I mean, God knows what will come next. But I mean, will it impact Wall Street? I really don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. The S&P is bouncing nicely. Look at that. Bitcoin's being dragged up. It's being dragged up, kicking and screaming. Socialists or Wall Street could brick it. Lots of people saying they will leave NYC, but could be all talk. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine it's gonna. I mean, really, it's not gonna have any real impact on the actual, like, US economy or US stocks that much, is it? Like, it's not really going to impact any of the Mag 7 that much, I wouldn't imagine anyway. I mean, if someone thinks otherwise, please let me know. But I can't imagine that. I think maybe it would just be mostly impacting how actually people feel living there. I don't know. But yeah. John Brown, how are we doing? Great to see you. Great to see you. Yeah, that's where we're up to with this. Yeah, I mean, really nice bounce so far on Bitcoin. The question is this a bottom? And is this like a recovery rally, or is it a dead cat bounce? That's the thing, innit? That is the thing, and obviously, yeah, my three scenarios. My three scenarios. Let me rid of that. My three scenarios drawn on the chart. I mean, it'll be really telling. I think ultimately the biggest test will be what happens in and around 107k. I think that will be ultimately the biggest one. What happens in and around 107k? Come into supply. Fully fully squozing, late shorts. We'll see. John is ready for a pump. Are you, my friend? We'll see what happens, won't we? We'll see what happens. I mean, what's that? That's a pretty. I mean, had plenty of opportunities to get in and around, this area, wasn't there, yesterday? 100,500 across all them hours. So far, 2.65% up, which is nice. A pump up towards 107-ish would be, 6, maybe 7%, which would be really nice. ETH moving well. Got my ETH levels ready in terms of looking for liquidity and looking at supply tests. But yeah, I think if we get a really nice push up across the S&P and Nasdaq today, then that should give Bitcoin some nice breathing room to go on and push. I'm ready for Dave. Don't care for the pump part. Yeah, mate. Yeah. Love it. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. What's this doing? Did you see, obviously, today's headline, today's title and today's thumbnail was obviously about Treasury companies, and obviously they're going to be feeling the heat because a lot of them are going to be underwater now. We did have one and the first capitulation yesterday. So Sequence Communications, I don't know how much Bitcoin they actually held in total, but they offloaded 970 Bitcoin, cutting its debt to 94.5 million. The first Bitcoin treasury firm to sell its holdings. So obviously the first to sell, and obviously it just shows, doesn't it, the reality. Basically all of these companies minus Sailor have bought extremely high. Most of them, I think probably all of them actually, are probably in and around 100k and above. So they're really sensitive to any sort of downtrend, aren't they? Because their entry price is so high. Sailor's fortunate in the fact that he still has in and around like a 25% drop from here before he even gets back to break even. But I don't know how much Bitcoin this company held. Sequence. I'm gonna go and let's see. Sequence. I did pull up this on CoinMarketCap, which is where you can see the data from public companies that have bought and held Bitcoin. There it is, Sequence. So it's a French company, and they bought 3,234 Bitcoin and held 331.1 million. Look at their cost. Yeah, look at the cost basis. So this is the issue in it. Look at the cost basis. Their entry was 116.6k. So obviously, come yesterday, 116.6k. So come yesterday, they were down. So their entry was here. So yesterday they were down anywhere. I'm not sure exactly what time they sold, but they were down potentially 10%, 11, 12, maybe down as much as obviously 15% on the rest of the holdings. But I don't know what time they sold for what loss. But they've sold obviously the majority of it because they've cut its debt down to just 94 million. So they've sold most of theirs. So that's obviously the first one to bite the bullet. But if we just actually have a look at through the cost basis, some of them have got really nice entries, some of them don't. If you look at Metaplanet, 107 point, I don't know if that's actually accurate. I thought Metaplanet's was like 103, 104, but this was updated on the 30th of September, so maybe it's a bit different. I don't know. But Metaplanet's, the reported one is basically 108k, underwater, and that's on 3.15 billion. Coinbase has a nice entry. Tesla has a great entry because they've just obviously never added since. But they are more than 3x up on theirs. Imagine if they sold a chunk of theirs as well. Imagine if they never sold it or just added more. Blocks one. Again, that's not been updated in a while. I don't know if Block have bought more or not. But Block's entry is really low. Galaxies, bloody hell, look at that. Again, not updated since August 11th, so I don't know if they've added more, and obviously if that's changed the entry. But Galaxy well underwater now on 705 million. Next, Technology Holdings underwater. Kindly 500 million. Thing is, you haven't really heard of these companies, have you? I mean, no one's ever said to me, "Oh bloody hell, have you seen what Kindly chart's doing?" But again, 118.2k. Again, this was updated in August. I assume they haven't done anything since then, or it's not been updated anyway. But underwater massively on theirs. A lot of these don't have cost basis, so I'm guessing they haven't disclosed their cost basis. For something like Semler Scientific, ProCap, they've not disclosed this. A lot of these haven't disclosed, but Gemini, but I assume a lot of them will be underwater. Orange Bitcoin, slightly underwater. Sequence, that's the one obviously we've just looked at. Capital B, slightly underwater. The Smarter Web, underwater. Fold in profit, nice. And then obviously you've got really small ones. There's a lot, isn't there? There is a lot of public companies that hold Bitcoin. I mean, look at all this. There's loads down to even tiny ones. Not sure what these are. Maybe these are ones that said that they were going to buy but haven't bought yet. But I mean, look at that. Even down to something tiny like this. This is a British company. Panther Metals holds 1 Bitcoin. Legends. But yeah, that's where we're up to with that. Argo blockchain. Yeah. So, do we see more? Let me know in the chat. What do you think? Do you think we see more treasury companies sell? I think obviously, really, many of them will just be happy to see price go up. Of course, the further price goes down, maybe that applies some pressure. When we run it back in do you know what? I was actually thinking about this before, and I was gonna drop a message in that chat with obviously me, you, and Dean. I think we should do it. I think maybe do you reckon in about 2 weeks, because it'll have like a real nice Christmas feel to it, won't it? Do you reckon in about 2 weeks, or maybe towards the end of November, it'll have a nice little Christmas feel to it then, which would be nice. But yeah, we'll definitely do it before the start of December. But I'm thinking if we give it a few more weeks, everywhere will have like the Christmas decorations and all stuff out, won't they? The Xmas markets are already out, are they? Yeah. I'm not surprised. I went to one in a garden. There's a really, really nice garden centre about 20 minutes away from me, and they put Xmas markets on. And yeah, they was out in like the middle of October. Nice as well. But yeah, we'll go whenever. Yeah. Actually, to be fair, I assume that every shop will have the Christmas stuff out now, won't they? I mean, most of them do that I've been in. So we'll go whenever. We'll drop it in the chat. And then yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm up for going whenever. Scotty says BlackRock shakeout. F 'em. Yeah, we'll see, won't we? We'll see. But I'm just going to run to the toilet anyway, because obviously we've got US Open coming at us in 25 minutes. So I'm going to go and do that. In the meantime, of course, drop a like, subscribe, sign up to BLOFIN, sign up to Stonksy if you haven't. And yeah, we'll resume cycling through all this good stuff when I'm back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Take some time to go and do whatever you want yourself. And yeah, I'll be back. So I'll catch you in a few minutes. I'm back. 27 people jumped in. A few additions from while I was gone. Hello, thank you very much for jumping into the stream. Make sure you drop a like. If you're new around here, subscribe. And yeah, we are obviously ready for US Open in 20 minutes. Leading into it, we have had a pushback up on the S&P and NQ. NQ, NASDAQ has filled in a nice gap as well. Bitcoin has pushed up quite nicely. I'm kind of just waiting for one of these scenarios to happen. That's kind of what I've got planned for today. We may not even get there. Who knows? You know, we're obviously not guaranteed to push up this high if the strength isn't there. But these areas are what I'm looking for. Personally, this would be the area that I'm really interested in to trade for long or short. You got really nice invalidation and easy invalidation for either of these two. But again, you know, we might not get there. Maybe it's capped somewhere else. We'll have to see. But yeah, the market itself had a nice bounce. Obviously, relief. I mean, yesterday was a bloodbath, wasn't it? It was an utter bloodbath. I mean, ETH was down 13% at one point yesterday. Gary, how we doing, mate? Afternoon to you. Yeah, ETH was down 13% at one point yesterday, which is just brutal, isn't it? Absolutely brutal. Obviously, everything else took an absolute hammering. But so far, you know, obviously, nice bounce for anyone that caught any longs yesterday. Undoubtedly, you're in profit. And yeah, obviously some good absorption on Bitcoin below $100,000. Look at these. This thing got a pump up of today. I got some alerts because I set some alerts on it. But this thing maybe is starting to break above resistance, as you can see. Obviously, you know, depending on where you want to, you could tidy it up a bit like that if you wanted to. If you wanted to around the daily closes, whatever. But this thing is obviously starting to push up and trying to test breaking up. Is this the rest of the profits? You know, obviously maybe some ZEC profits. Dash is, you know, down today. That is a horrific daily candle yesterday, isn't it? That looks like a top candle to me. Could be wrong, but I mean, look at the absorption on that. Massive upper wick, really small body. That looks like a top candle, but is profits from other privacy coins rotating into this for one kind of hurrah? We'll have to see. I mean, ZEC itself isn't down; it's actually up. But yeah, this thing obviously started popping today, so maybe it's more so, you know, maybe some Dash profits rotating into Monero, perhaps. This thing has just bounced back massively, hasn't it? Obviously, this got sent down when CZ tweeted that they had no affiliation to it and it wasn't an official coin. And for whatever reason, this has just sprung back 3x, which is just unbelievable, isn't it? But in terms of anything else, there's not really much else. Do you want me to have a look at anything, you know, particular? Let me know. Jelly Wiz got a great trade on this yesterday. And again, you know, another one. Look at that. All the way up to 58 cents, 59 cents. Crazy. Ooh. This thing is showing signs of life, isn't it? 25%. It's now coming in to test the downtrend too. This thing is showing signs of life. Can you imagine if this thing just gets the mother of all pumps? Did anyone take a trade on this? I haven't yet. Maybe obviously the fact that it filled in that wick was maybe one telltale sign. But I mean, it's just been kind of knife catching all the way down on it. So if anything, want to see a nice base formed. This thing yesterday was, look at the daily candle on that. This thing was crazy. So this just out of nowhere pumped. I don't know if anyone saw this yesterday, but this thing just went absolutely lunatic. Look at that. I mean, yesterday, 8 o'clock. I mean, it started curling up, didn't it? You know, around 7, but then just went full blown up into the air. So within the span of 3 hours, it had gone from 3.5 cents, 3 cents. And look at that. Where's that? It's crazy, isn't it? Like a full 8-9x. And then just, these are 5-minute candles, by the way. Just look at the state of that. That is just one pure the rug being pulled from underneath it, isn't it? Wild. Yeah, Bitcoin. What have you got for us today? Thomas Mack, hey, can you take a look at DGB? Yeah, of course, as long as you drop a like. Dave, I think I may buy more Wi-Fi. Yeah, that was such a fumble. DGB. This thing. What is this? I recognize the ticker symbol. What is this? Is this Digibyte? I'm thinking Digibyte. Yeah. There you go. What a run that's had. Since Sunday. That's had a nice run on it. It's up about 50%. Yeah, let's have a look at this. On the daily, let's look at this on the weekly, actually. Yeah, I mean, on the weekly, it came in and obviously tested its lows, didn't it? Came in and tested its lows on the weekly. And basically, this is just... This is like one big range split into ranges. So, you've got... hang on. You've got your kind of... I'm trying to how best to do this. Let's do it here. You've got your upper, your range high there, as you can see, comes in nicely because this was once, support, drop down and then became resistance. Obviously, some wicks flying up, but that doesn't really matter. Let's look at around the weekly opens and closes. So you've got your high time frame range high. You've then got your high time frame range low in here, which, it obviously come back and tested there. Now, obviously, for something like this, you've got the extremities. This will take months and months to reach the highs here. As you can see, we've only tested it twice, both last year, actually. It's not yet to test it. So that's like your real high time frame point of resistance / selling, unless it breaks above and holds above. But then what you can do is obviously split this into smaller range. So you can see for most of the time, the price action has basically revolved in and around this area here. So let's use like a dotted line. No, that goes over the sun. Let's use a dotted. So you can see, and this kind of works out, if you wanted to just pick a mid-range, I bet it doesn't come too far away. It basically comes in there, doesn't it? So if you actually just take that range that I've plotted there and see, and even if we just move that up to the actual mid-range, as you can see, 0.5 between the range high and the range low, get rid of that. You can see that for most of the time, the price action revolves in and around this lower half here. So you've got obviously high time frame range high time frame range low, but then also you can split this into a nice little range where basically you can just see that price spends most of its time in this lower echelon here. So then this is this is your range. So then obviously minus this, you can utilize this because obviously you sell up here and you buy as close to down here as possible. And as you can see, for the past couple of years, this has worked out, a treat in terms of just smacking it. So that's what I would say in terms of a trading aspect is, you've just got it wedged quite nicely in here, but, you get above here and that opens. And you can see the moves from pushing up at this bit up to here are very fast, within a week, 2 weeks. pushing up all the way to the range high. Ultimately, what do you need to to expand? Obviously, need to get above here for a weekly close, up to here, and then ultimately it's about holding it above here, because while we've had some wicks above here, it's not held back above for the weekly close. So you want to hold it on the weekly close, preferably maybe a couple of weeks in a row, and then that should then push it up. And then you probably be best going looking at maybe some daily levels, because on the weekly, as you can see, there's just nothing really there in terms of the weekly until you get up to here. Basically, you've got that kind of SR zone there, haven't you? Around these here. And again, it's probably not going to do that in one straight line. So for anything else, you want to go and maybe look at the daily for targets along the way. But in terms of obviously what does that open, it does. This was one range, wasn't it? You can see obviously price action in here come up. Support came in here for the weekly closes again, wild wicks, but then obviously you had rejection in and around where that was support. So then this is basically just obviously one range. Now it could move through this quite quickly, as you can see back in 2022, it moved through there in basically a week. It could move through there quite quickly, but I would be looking at obviously daily levels to pull some targets from there. But ultimately, you do reopen this kind of big range once you get back above there on the weekly. If it does, if it does. But yeah, there we go. Why is my mouse not mousing? There we go. Liked Dino Coin. Yeah, well, I mean, all the privacy ones that are running are Dino Coins, aren't they? I tell you what. My computer's just froze. Hang on. I'm going to have to just quickly leave the stream. I'll be back in a second. So Wiz is on about buying more white fiber. Let's see. This is such a fumble by me. Such a fumble. That was like a clean, like 2.5x, weren't it? Just a bit of patience, but literally had an entry of like 1550 or whatever. Terrible play by me, that. But yeah, I mean, isn't this rumored to be the next one in the AI circle jerk? I think you said, weren't it? What are memes doing today? Some bouncing back pretty nicely. Some are bouncing back pretty nicely. SPX. Testing, obviously, this clean SR level here. Resistance, support. Held it quite nice. Fart coin. Moving back up 10% today. Bait doing quite nice. I like this bait one. That's up quite nicely. I was looking at this all the way down here as well when it was like down there. That's up. Wow, it's up 40% already. Fucking hell. Yeah. Memes moving as memes, as you would imagine. That's crazy, that. I was gonna. Should have longed some of that yesterday. Oh, wow. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, there we go. We do have US Open coming at us in 7 minutes, so let's see what we get. Most people think we're going up, 81%. So thank you for voting if you voted. Oh. Oh, jelly. Good afternoon, Hugo. Jelly. Where's it? Mental trade on jelly. Crazy. That thing is just completely pulled back on it as well. It's crazy, isn't it? What a move. The fact that you was in from all the way down here as well. Bullish on Bitcoin. I don't know, I'm still hesitant. I mean, if that ends up being the bottom, then all good, innit? But I'm still very hesitant. I mean, I still don't think it's enough expansion out of here to kind of grab enough liquidity and obviously have a deep enough pullback. But it might just be my bias. I just don't think it's enough. It's not enough of a pullback. I don't know. We'll see. As long as it's red on the daily. This is the region I'm looking at where I'll just go balls to the wall. In, yes, please. Thank you very much. Ta. Yeah. You guys let me know what you think. 25 people watching. Thank you for joining. Drop a like, drop a subscribe if you're new. Of course, sign up to Stonksy. Look at what it did yesterday, shorting Bitcoin from all the way up there in the red background. Hit a mega one on ETH as well. And of course, if you're looking for anywhere to trade, BLOFIN is there. I've put BLOFIN in the description. Non-KYC, create your account. Come and join us. And yeah, get excited. Get excited. Let's see. Maybe new weekly high, not sure, but possible. New all-time high, what do we reckon? Are you bullish with? Are you bullish? You think that was the bottom? What are your thoughts? Do you think that was the bottom? If that was the bottom, obviously, I remember Justin had a chart, didn't he? That was basically pulling it in towards like 98 or 99 or something. And then up. I'd love one more. Just come and close the CME gap, max carnage, and then honestly, if we get to pull into here in early November, I think I may. I don't know whether I'll retract my statement because that statement's made on the internet forever now of me saying it was a cycle top. Which is good. I mean, you should be lapping that upwards. You should say, pure engagement farm. That it was called on your stream. The cycle top was in, and then we went on to drop like 15%. I don't know whether it is or not, but I would turn so bullish if we come and close the CME gap down here. I would just buy the blood and the carnage so much. Heard Hugo's portfolio is making a new all-time high every day. Apparently so. I believe Hugo's doing quite well, isn't he? I think we chop more. Yeah. You can see it. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a V reversal, is it? I don't think it's going to be a V reversal by any means. Can't see that, but yeah, I think could chop it. Could chop. I mean, it'd be nice to come and see a test of these lows, wouldn't it? Obviously, if you're looking at liquidity areas, we're going to get US Open in a minute as well. But if you're looking at, areas of liquidity, obviously there's going to be, look at them equal lows there. I never like equal lows either. I never like equal highs or equal lows. But look at them equal lows there. One there, one there. That to me is just like prime, just waiting to be eaten up. Waiting to be eaten up like this. Waiting for it. But yeah, we're going to get US Open now. So let's get ready to ring the bell in 10 seconds. Are you ready to rumble, my friends? Are you ready to rumble? And we are open. Tell you what, I feel like that bell doesn't ring the same anymore. I feel like that bell doesn't ring the same. But yeah, we're open anyway. Let's see what's going on. MSTR 250, Coinbase 314, Circle 113, Gemini 16. Nvidia up slightly. This is down to 198 on it pre-market. Tesla up 2.3%, doing well. Mixed bag over in the Mag 7. Bitcoin starting to push. Yeah, we'll see what we get anyway from today. But yeah, I like the look of them equal lows getting taken, even if, we're going to chop around. Even if we're going to chop around, them equal lows to get took. Look pretty nice. Stonksy's still red as well. Obviously something to really bear in mind. Oh, bless me. Bless me. So yeah, we're getting a bit of sell pressure coming on Bitcoin in the immediate open. Let's go and check what we've got. Yes, we've got a news story on here. Michael Saylor's big Bitcoin bet is MicroStrategy safe in the next bear market. MicroStrategy is unlikely to face liquidation in the next. Is this from the Willy Woo stuff? Yeah, I was actually going to pull this up on stream anyway, so this is good. Basically, this is let me go find it. Where is it? Here. So this is obviously a article about the Willy Woo tweet. So this is MicroStrategy's loan repayments, and obviously what they've got coming in. So Willy Woo says the debt, obviously the date that it's due, and the price MSTR stock needs to exceed to prevent partial liquidation of the Bitcoin Treasury to pay the debt. Equivalent Bitcoin assumes MNAV 1.0. So obviously, for anyone wondering, here is the dates that MicroStrategy has got debt repayments coming up, how much, and then the equivalent Bitcoin price, which is fascinating, really, isn't it? I mean, look at the discrepancy on it. So you've got the earliest one coming in on the 15th of September 2027. So that is obviously just under 2 years away. So it's still quite a while away. That is 1 billion. And that is a Bitcoin equivalent price of 91,502. Conversion threshold. I don't know. So maybe it's the conversion threshold, the MSTR price, perhaps. I don't know. But then obviously you got the next one at the 1st of March, then 1st of June. They're heavy ones, aren't they? That's 2 billion. That's 3 billion. So they're quite heavy debt repayments. And they are assuming a big Bitcoin price. Of course, that would be hovering into potentially a new bull market, perhaps. And then another one in 2028. You got two there actually. They're both due on the same day, 15th of September. So 2028 is a really big year for MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. So it could either be absolutely fantastic or absolutely terrible. They owe another basically 1.5 billion there. So across all these three, within 6 months between March 2028 and September 2028, MicroStrategy owes around $6.5 billion in debt repayments. And then the next one is, way after that in June 2029, which is 800 million. But look at the equivalent Bitcoin price, 335,216, and then it comes right down then. But yeah, quite interesting. I thought it was interesting to look at before as well. This is so this guy says, but my biggest worry is the 700 million annual yield payments. So I'll be honest, I don't know anything about that. I don't know about this 700 million annual yield payments, if that's correct or not. But yeah. And then this other guy, so there is actually seem to be some pretty educational stuff in the replies, if it's correct, that is. But this guy says these liquidation prices assume statistic MNAV, but that's the whole game. If Bitcoin drops 70% in a bear, sentiment crashes harder. MNAV could hit 0.6 to 0.7 like 2022. Now your safe $300 liquidation point becomes $500. Debt structure looks fine until premium evaporates. So yeah, I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about the kind of structure on MicroStrategy's debt payments and all that jazz. But it's interesting to obviously have a look at what got posted. Maybe Wiz is telling the truth. My take profit is 103.6. Thank you, Gary. But yeah, that was interesting, and obviously, there is an article on CryptoSavingExpert.com about it. Let's see what the article actually says. So obviously, that gives a rundown. Above that, obviously, just a rundown of the MSTR price, and then obviously equivalent for Bitcoin. And the bottom line is Sailor is safe to cycle, but not invincible forever. Obviously, going into 2028, that could be massive, couldn't it? But yeah, Bitcoin has sold off following US Open. We've had a slight pullback on the S&P, nothing major. A couple of $100 pullback on Bitcoin, again, nothing major. But yeah, that's where we're up to anyway. Maybe a bit of a quiet open. Of course, yesterday was just utter carnage, wasn't it? Like, yesterday was utter carnage for NASDAQ, obviously, some of the Mag 7. Bitcoin, utter carnage. Ethereum, complete carnage, minus 13% towards the bottom. Complete carnage. So maybe today we don't get much. I definitely wouldn't rule out the fact that today we maybe just chop around. Volatility maybe dries up a bit. after such a move. We'll see anyway. We'll see, but yeah. I think that's obviously entirely possible. And of course, altcoins will just follow it, won't it? You know, altcoins, as I said before, you know, in these times, after a big Bitcoin move like this, altcoin setups can look great. And, you know, bad at the same time, because it all depends on what Bitcoin's going to do. The fact is, altcoins will have a great rally if the Bitcoin bottom is in. If we chop, again, altcoins probably chop with it. Maybe show some individual strength like we've seen. If we have another leg down, of course, altcoins probably get obliterated again, but, you know, present some great buying opportunities. We'll just have to see. Push it back up a little bit. Let's see what it's doing on the 5 minute. We are green on the 5 minute. No arrow. No arrow on the 5 minute, but we are green. Yeah, I think it's looking quite juicy, to be fair. Things looking quite juicy. Aero up 4%. Should go and have a look at some liquid. Oh yeah, there we go. Here it comes. Here comes the Bitcoin. Not that. I was looking at. Let's see. Let's have a look at the liquidation heat map. Model 2. 24 hour, we've actually come up and swiped that already. Let's see on a 3-day. So on a 3-day, obviously, you would expect this. Now, I think in times like this, it's important to remember we may not come up and just simply go after liquidity. In terms of, you know, looking at this, 108.5 basically throws us back into the range, doesn't it? Because that's the sell-off zone. Doesn't necessarily want to mean to go up there. I think this kind of this thing coming from here is basically lines up with one of our lines that we've mapped out. Looks nice. Let's see on the weekly what have we got. Yeah, you can see why. It's the sell-off zone, and you can see obviously we had 1 high, 2 high, 3 high, sell-off zone coming. The monthly looks quite interesting. The monthly has the liquidity chunk at 88,800, which would tie in with where I'm looking at too. So maybe it's just a game of patience. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's all a fugazi. Maybe the bottom's in. We are squeezing up quite nicely. Let's have a look. Any more news stories? Let's see. Let's get rid of that tab now. Let's see if we've got any more news stories to have a look at. Three things that must happen to avoid a bear market. Adam Back co-founded Switzerland Fund. Nothing really much, is there? Metaplanet taps 100 million Bitcoin-backed loan for Bitcoin purchases, share buyback. Interesting, yeah. Interesting. I mean, really. We all just want another spike in volatility, don't we? That's all we want. Bitcoin is healing. Have you put a plaster on it, mate? Put a plaster on it. I mean, I'm not convinced until we close the daily above 108. If we close the daily above 108, then I would be much more convinced that that maybe that was the bottom. At the moment, I'm not convinced because I need the market to show me strength. And yeah, the sign of strength will be closing the daily above 108, I think, back inside the range that we was trading within, in my opinion anyway. That would show me strength at the moment. I'm not convinced. So I'll let the market do the work. You know, the market can either show me strength, or I will just keep watching and waiting. But yeah, that's what I'm waiting. You know, that's what I'll be waiting for personally. Apart from that, I'll just be scalping and just, you know, keeping an eye on of course the market and just waiting for maybe some further downside levels to be tested or upside levels. And this would obviously, yeah, this is it. Obviously, just, you know, just close back inside the range. Close back inside the range. Of course, you just reopen the range then. So to me, that would obviously be a lot stronger than where it is at the moment. But maybe, you know, maybe there is argument, you know, to maybe say that, you know, we just basically come back and tested demand down here, haven't we? I mean, we haven't swept that wick, which is pretty strange. But it is only day two. You know, we haven't been down at these levels since the middle of June, which is a long time, isn't it? You know, that's nearly 5 months that we've not been down at these levels. The rest of it was spent here, and obviously, like I covered earlier in the stream, most of the past 2.5 months has been spent in this trading range here. So, you know, obviously, first day of the breakdown, second day, it may take time for obviously to either reclaim or drift towards other levels. But yeah, thank you very much for everyone that's watched today. We'll cut the stream there. Of course, I'll be back tomorrow. We are going to have Dean on as well. Obviously, everyone in the Discord will know him as SMFC. So we'll have him on the stream tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see what we get. You know, throughout the rest of today, I am anticipating that we carry on pushing up. It does seem like Bitcoin wants to squeeze, so we'll see how much it squeezes and what the reaction is from that. But yeah, in the meantime, of course, have a great rest of your day. Like, subscribe if you're not. Sign up to Stonksy, sign up to BLOFIN. And yeah, I'll catch you legends tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see where the market's going. And yeah, I'm keen to see what happens for the rest of the week, to be honest. I'm keen to see where the weekly closes as well regarding that 50 weekly moving average. Going to keep a close eye on that. But yeah, thanks for joining. Appreciate you all, and I'll catch you then. Bye bye.